Okay. You mean as an investor,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Well, I think that one of the best ways, especially if you're, you know, looking at an opportunity, most of the commercial loans, 5 units and above, and most of the strip shopping centers, whether or multifamily, a lot of that you're going to need 30 to 40% down, maybe even more in some cases. One of the easiest way to get in is, and it's the first property that I ever bought was a triplex where I lived in one unit and I rented out the other two. So one of the good things about 3 to 4 units is you can get a 30-year fixed loan. It's easier to qualify because they have the income from the other 2 units or 3 units to offset your mortgage.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Erika, and today I'm joined by someone that I've been thrilled to chat with, Steve Lampe. He's been making serious moves with Remax Commercial. And Steve, I'm so glad to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me, Erica. Looking forward to it. And I've enjoyed our chat so far and looking forward to, to moving on, keeping it going. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, so let's dive on in. For our listeners who may not be familiar with your world yet, can you share more about what your journey was like getting into real estate? What motivated you to start in the first place?
Well, I got out of college. I went to college in Florida. I got a degree in accounting and finance, and I was at an auditing firm called Price Waterhouse doing audit and tax. And I had a great experience there for a few years, but you were always the person that was kind of keeping score, like putting the numbers in the boxes. And I really wanted to be out there making the goals and the home runs and the, you know, scoring on the field. So I actually had an uncle who was in real estate, which kind of piqued my interest. And I went to work for a company where I started working with no experience. I got my license. I had a year's worth of income saved up, because when you're starting out, there's no salary. And I started focusing on apartments, selling apartment buildings, mainly 5 units to maybe 50 units. Worked my way through that as well as added retail and strip shopping centers. So it was kind of a move that I really am so happy I made because my finance and accounting background really helped me, even though I always say real estate is seventh grade math because it's just operating income, expenses, and your net income and cash flow. It's very easy to learn. Yeah, for me, it was just kind of a natural segue. So, and I've been doing it for over 25 years now.
Yeah, and your focus is commercial and investment realty. Can you share more about what drew you to that aspect of real estate?
Sure. Well, I still enjoy, going by an open house of the neighborhood and seeing residential properties, but I really like the numbers aspect of it, especially when people are buying property for an investment opportunity. So, in that regard, it was a little bit more business. Like I didn't really want to be working on Saturdays and Sundays, but primarily I just think it was the numbers aspect that piqued my interest. And just so how you could see how someone could buy a property, either reposition it or renovate the units or put a new tenant in a retail center that might have had mom and pop tenants and you get a Starbucks in there. And just to see how you're able to add value to the property and create wealth in that regards.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So I just really enjoyed it always, and I enjoyed talking to people that were successful at it. And it's the other thing about investment properties is, unlike a house where someone usually has to sell one to buy one, many investors own multiple properties. So there's a great opportunity to have clients where you do multiple transactions with over the years.
Yeah, and you, I'm sure you build those relationships quickly when you're doing multiple deals with them.
Yes, yeah. And then if you do a good job or the investment pans out, that they're usually a good long-term client.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. When it comes to the space that you're in, Steve, what would you say is the biggest misconception that you see when people come to you and they're interested in the commercial real estate space?
Well, I think that I try to do a good job. I've mentored a lot of agents, so I really try to tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. But a lot of it is just a matter of getting on the phone and contacting people, because I know in residential, the agents talk about their sphere of influence, family and friends, but when you're doing commercial real estate, you really have to realize that nobody knows that you are now a commercial broker. You have to reach out and call them. No one is driving by in their car and decides to stop in and buy a property. So there's a lot of prospecting, and I try to have a consultative approach. So, but it is a numbers game. So I think one of the biggest things that people need to learn, that you've got to be on the phone, stay on the phone. Sure, there's technology and social media and other avenues to promote yourself, but the number one is to get on a phone and talk to someone that you've never heard from you before and develop a rapport with them.
Yeah. And Steve, when it comes to building those relationships, especially when you're early on and new to real estate, what kind of networking would you say could be a game changer?
Well, at our company, Remax Commercial, we used to have these forums. And so we would do two things. We have two kinds of forums. One would be, I would partner up with maybe a CPA or a tax advisor or someone that was familiar with 1031 exchanges, and we would send out invitations to people to come to our forum and to learn about it and talk to the advisors. Because I think that because not everyone is always transacting, it's very beneficial if you're providing some value to them in the interim, whether it's rent surveys, whether it's historical sales comps, or something like I was talking about where there's a forum. And we would do the same thing for agents, where agents could come on a separate thing, and we would have um, at a convention center or a hotel where you can bring your listings. And we would do this for a while. We were doing it like once a month, everyone from different companies. So there was a full cooperation, networking, and then other agents from other companies would come and promote their listings, whether it's a PowerPoint presentation or whatever the medium is. So those are the two probably best networking avenues that we found were very successful in bringing people together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great. And when we were talking earlier, Steve, you had talked about all your experience in the Southern California market. What kind of opportunities and challenges are you seeing there?
Well, I think that it depends product type by product type. Like if commercial properties encompass multifamily, which is 5 units and above, although still sometimes we get the occasional triplex or fourplex. And in addition to multifamily, retail like standalone, like it could be like a McDonald's or a Jack in the Box or Starbucks, retail strip centers, office and industrials. A lot of the market is dictated by supply and demand. There's a shortage of housing. So apartments, even though they've come down maybe 10 to 15% over the peak of 2022 due to interest rates, there still is a limited supply of them, and vacancy rates are relatively low. At the other end of the spectrum, you have office buildings. And even before the whole pandemic, people were already starting to work at home or work from WeWorks or these other types of.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Office settings. So there's a glut of office space. Whereas the vacancy in apartments might be 3 to 4% overall, the vacancy in office can be 20% or more. So that really crushed a lot of projected cash flows and left a lot of empty buildings. And then in the middle, you probably have retail strip centers. And then I would say industrial has always been like lower vacancies than apartments, but there was a lot of overbuilding because of that. Real estate is kind of like the ebb and flow of the tide. There's over time there's overbuilding, then there's absorption, and then there's equilibrium. So right now we're just seeing a lot of vacancies in those types of product types, but I think it's a good correction because it's brought values down where the return, when people were getting loans for 3%, things seem to cash flow. Now that rates are in the 6% plus or minus range, I think it's made people more cautious and stabilize a little bit. But there's a little bit more pain to come. We're not going off a cliff, but I think there's still a little bit more settling to occur.
Yeah. And knowing all those ins and outs of those different product types are so important. And I know you have your own investment experience as well. For our listeners who, let's say they want to get started in real estate today, what kind of advice would you give them for getting into their first property?
Okay. You mean as an investor,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Well, I think that one of the best ways, especially if you're, you know, looking at an opportunity, most of the commercial loans, 5 units and above, and most of the strip shopping centers, whether or multifamily, a lot of that, you're going to need 30 to 40% down, maybe even more in some cases. One of the easiest way to get in and it's the first property that I ever bought was a triplex where I lived in 1 unit and I rented out the other two. So one of the good things about 3 to 4 units is you can get a 30-year fixed loan. It's easier to qualify because they have the income from the other 2 units or 3 units to offset your mortgage. And the down payments are usually 20 to 25% fixed. I would say that would be a good investment property, and everyone can relate to that. Everyone at some point needs a place to live, and everyone's not ready to buy their dream homes. I think that probably a 3 to 4 unit building would be the best in multifamily. The other way would be to find partners that are experienced, that are syndicators, that are putting out, maybe they're buying an $8 million property, but they are taking investments of $100,000 from individuals. So that's another way where you're part of a partnership. Syndication is just a fancy word for a partnership where there's someone that finds the asset, manages it, distributes the cash on a quarterly basis, the return. And that's the second way to do that would be to Cohen. There's a third way. If you just want to do something real passive, you can invest in a real estate investment trust in the stock market. You're buying the paper, you're not really buying the asset, and there's no depreciation. There's a stock fund called Cohen and Steers. The symbol is RFI. R as in Randy, F as in Frank, I as in Igloo. And they invest in multitudes of different REITs, which are real estate investment trusts that own apartments, industrial, retail, like very large institutional assets. So that's the third way. Yeah, you could do that today and be in real estate in about half an hour. Just open up an account at any brokerage.
That's exciting. And Steve, with all of your experience, I'm sure you have a story or two, whether it's with, your realty group or
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
was there something that you learned from that experience that, changed how you operate with these deals? I mean, with that situation, you were going above and beyond to make it work. So I'm curious to know what you'd say about that.
Well, and I think it still holds true too. A lot of agents and brokers, um, they get the paperwork and they just shuffle it over, and they're like, they don't read it. And we're really conducting a legal transaction. And although we're not lawyers and we can't give legal advice, we are an agent for someone, and it's incumbent upon us to actually read and understand, so that if there is some nuance, that whether it goes one direction or the other, that we have that knowledge. So I think that was the one thing that I learned a lot from that transaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when it comes to what's on the horizon, you've dealt with a lot of crazy deals. You're well established in the Southern California market. So, what's next on the horizon, Steve?
I would say that for right now, a lot of the agents are looking and calling clients that they've done business with over the years. We have some longevity. As far as me personally, the company's running very well. I'm looking at doing maybe some more investing on my own, where I'm either bringing in other partners that could be other agents that work with me, or third party friends, family, associates, things of that nature. Because it's still real estate is a business that you can segue into different areas. Just because you're an agent and doing brokerage, some people get into property management, some people get into investing, and I'm kind of more in the direction of investing, because I know it well just from representing owners and seeing what has worked and what hasn't worked, and looking out for those opportunities to reposition or renovate a property, not with the idea of flipping it. That's one thing that I think that's key, is that when interest rates were marching down, it was easy to buy a property, slap a coat of paint on it, maybe raise the rents a little bit, and all of a sudden, you're making a nice profit on it. I think real estate goes through cycles, and right now we're back in a cycle of, it's a traditional long-term investment. It has cash flow, it has appreciation over time, and then you have the tax benefits of depreciating the asset to write off the income, or selling it and doing a 1031 exchange into another asset, versus just selling it and cashing out, taking your chips off the table. There's no right or wrong. It's just more, I think that's where we're back to, as far as the foreseeable future. But I always say I threw out my crystal ball years ago, but I do think that the foreseeable future looks promising. There's opportunities now. I think we talked earlier about a lot of these commercial loans are only fixed for 3 or 5 or 7 years, unlike a house that's 30-year fixed. So a lot of those loans, when they become due or they become ready to reset at a higher rate, owners are going to have to sell or put money in to pay the loan down. So I think there's going to be more transactions. And secondarily, there's going to be a generational wealth transfer that's been occurring, as people that are in their 80s and 90s pass the properties on to their children through trusts, wills. And as a result, sometimes the kids don't have any interest in managing the property, or they don't have any experience. So I think there's going to be uh, liquidation of assets, just in an orderly manner. I don't see us going off the cliff in any way, but I do think it's like the tide right now. I think the next few years are going to be good for real estate, and there's less uncertainty, with interest rates and everything else.
Yeah. And like you said, you got to throw out that crystal ball. But With that in mind, are there tools or systems that you're using when you're looking for these different assets?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, a lot of this is, you build a database based on your product type, and sometimes you have to research or get a research assistant to look up the phone numbers. But one of the best sources is historical sales comps. Now, the MLS has a limited amount, but uh, CoStar LoopNet is one of those. CoStar is historical comps. LoopNet is more for marketing properties currently. So those are the things we use because you can go back 15 years and look at who's owned particular properties, and you can see trend analysis, and you can see which properties might have been owned a long time and haven't traded hands. So that is one thing that's really happened with, there's so many different avenues of research and acquiring information on properties where, you know, back in the 90s or even beforehand, you had to get in your car and drive around and get information from the title company. Now, a lot of it's readily available. So it makes it a level playing field for even the newcomer that's coming into the business.
Yeah, absolutely. The accessibility that we have with technology is amazing today.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah.
Well said.
And, before we wrap up, if someone wants to have access to you, they want to reach out, connect, collaborate, what's the best way for them to reach you, Steve?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, we have our website, but I mean, I think that probably that's remaxcir.com, www.remaxcir.com. But I'm happy to give out my number here if anyone wants to call direct and ask questions or have any need to do work on a transaction. You tell me, what do you
Yeah.
suggest? Okay. So 310-880-1151. That's my mobile number. 310-880-1151. And yeah, even if it's just whether you're an investor looking for a property or someone that owns that's looking to sell, or whether you're interested in real estate as a broker or agent, would love to talk to any of y'all out there for sure.
Fantastic. Well, Steve, I appreciate your time and your story and your expertise today.
All right. Thank you again, Erica, for having me, and look forward to our next time we get together and chat. Okay.
Yes, sounds great.
Okay.
And for our listeners here, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to the Real Estate Pros podcast. We've got more conversations lined up with pros like Steve who are out there building fantastic real estate empires. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.